Hi, welcome to AFTV. I've got Robbie with me. We've just lost to Newcastle 1-0 here at St James's Park. Robbie, I feel like there's problems. That was it today, and we've lost our unbeaten streak. It wasn't good today from us. It wasn't good from both teams, but we didn't end up with the 3 points.
Yeah, listen, it was a very, very tight game today, I felt, where there was nothing in it. Absolutely nothing in it. Newcastle didn't really create anything, nor did we. I mean, they've created one chance and they've scored.
We had 11 corners.
Right. Yeah, we had 11 corners, but we didn't create nothing. There was nothing. You could see we were missing Martin Odegaard today. We were missing that creative spark today. There was no creativity. We couldn't break them down. Where we're normally very good is down the flanks, and I thought that the guys have already said it. Saka and Martinelli were pretty poor today. They did keep cutting in. They never once really tried to get past their men, and when they did try and go down, the flanks, they just got kicked. Yeah. Right. Listen, it's one of those where, we've got to remember, right, this team's been unbeaten in the Premier League. It's the first defeat. That's one thing we've got to remember and bear in mind. I really do think we have to remember that. The way I've just heard some people talking is like we've been getting battered every week. I know we lost that game during the week in the Carabao Cup, but this is our first defeat of the season, and this is a very, very difficult place to come to. And it's a very physical battle. Very physical affair. We matched it, but in the end, they got the goal, and you have to say then they've deserved to win. But I have to say, this is where I'm coming to now, right? But please, this is what I saw, like a lot of hometown decisions going on today. Bruno Guimaraes, elbows. I think it was Jorginho. Clear for me, red. Nothing. Referee backs out of it. Where's VAR? Yeah. And then you tell me, right, how these men have got three VAR checks. They beat all three. They beat 3 cases in one game, right? I haven't seen back all of them yet. I've seen the push by Joe Linton. Come on, that's scandalous. He's pushed. We can talk about poor defending. We can talk about mistakes. But if a player's going to, say, for instance, attack the ball and somebody comes from behind and pushes you in the back and pushes you over so you can't then do that, then that's not really bad defending. That's a foul. That's a foul. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they beat 3. I'm not sure about the offside because obviously we're so high up. We can't tell whether it's offside and it's down the other end of the ground. But again, I'm reading that, it was probably, possibly could have been offside, lines weren't drawn. I don't know. Listen, all I know, right, is that these men beat 3 cases in one trial, man. You know what I mean? I'll tell you, they were blessed today, right? After I saw that, I'm like, they're winning the game. I don't think we're gonna get nothing out of this. And that was literally the margin in a very, very tight game. We have to remember that. But overall, Arsenal, we didn't create enough. We didn't create. We had enough of the ball to try and create something. They did sit very, very deep, and they were very, very difficult to break down, and they defended very resolutely. But we didn't do enough creative-wise, and it's cost us a game today. I personally think a draw would have been a fair result, probably coming out of St James's Park today, because I don't think either team did enough. But it's turned on those VAR decisions.
I do want to push back on you a little bit because you're saying, fancy to remember, if this is our first defeat, but Robbie, there hasn't been fluidity as much this season. There hasn't been fluidity. You mentioned there, you went to VAR decisions instead of looking at, the team itself. No,
I didn't. I started off by saying that we were being poor today. I didn't think we created enough. So I've started off by saying that. We didn't. We didn't create enough, nor did they.
Yeah.
I think it's a game that if we'd have won 1-0, they'd probably be saying exactly the same sort of things we're saying. It's one of those games that's it's on a tight margin. It's a tough place to come to. It was a real physical battle. They really tried to stick it on us. We matched them. I thought Declan Rice was absolutely brilliant in the game, and Saliba as well. But at the end of the day, we didn't create enough. And I thought for the fact that, we had, like you said, so many corners and we had a lot of possession of the ball. I wanted to see us create more. And maybe some of those key players that we were missing, because I know they're missing players, but some of the players that we're missing are absolute key. Isaac and Botman, they're missing 2 key players, but
big players
we're missing bigger players than that, I feel. Like Key, Jesus, Odegaard, Thomas Partey. These are key players when you come to places like this to create. But listen, that's why I'm not going over the top of it, because I'm just saying it's a game of a real tight margins today.
When will you start to potentially worry though? Because we've bailed out the cup. We just lost today. We got Seville in the week. I think that's a massive. I think we have to win. That's like Dan said. We have to win our next 2 games.
Well, we beat Sevilla. We just before this, we beat Sevilla over there, didn't we? Yeah. We put ourselves in a good position, and we're at home to Sevilla, and hopefully I'd make us favourites to get a result there.
Yeah, and then
we got Burnley at home. We've got 2 favourites. We've had a couple of really difficult games. We've had to go away to Chelsea, away to West Ham, and away to Newcastle. That's a tough run, right? So we've been unbeaten in the league. Yes, it's not been as fluid. Yes, but we're still in good shape. We're still in a good position. We're still moving in the right direction. There are things we need to fix. There are things we need to fix to make us more fluid, to get us better. There are little problems and issues in the team. Kai Havertz.
Yeah, we're going to get to those.
Kai Havertz. I want to see more. I'm still not seeing enough from Kai Havertz. Yeah. Today he's playing sort of even in the number 10 position, where a lot of people have told me that's where he's, he didn't really do anything today, right? He wasn't the worst player on the pitch, but he didn't really do, I didn't see no creativity from him. That's a position of creativity, and I didn't really see no creativity for him. But it was a game that was difficult to create because it was such a dogfight in midfield. Bruno Guimaraes is normally very creative for them. He didn't create anything.
He didn't do much.
So it was just a physical battle in there. It was a game for your Joe Lintons and your Declan Rices and people like that.
Yeah, who had good games, to be fair.
But it was a physical battle where we haven't come out on top. But
it's squad depth an issue for us, Robbie, because we just heard it there. Everyone said I thought the window was a good window, but we look at our bench today. We look at. It might be just down to injuries, but is squad depth a problem at Arsenal?
Listen, squad depth. We do have squad depth because players. You may moan and say, "Oh, well, someone like Trossard, he scored a big goal in the last game away at Chelsea when he came off the bench," and we was all saying, "Oh, great squad depth." Yeah. So just because your players come off the bench and they don't score, doesn't mean you don't have squad depth. We do. We're sucking up some big injuries at the moment. Big injuries, right? And we're getting on with it and we're dealing with it. So I do believe we do have squad depth. Striker-wise, do we need a new striker? I've said that from even last week when Eddie scored a hat-trick. I would go and get Ivan Toney in January. Whether he'll be available or not, that's another matter. But I think we could do, what Arsenal could really do with is like a real world-class striker that just in a game like this, you've seen City, for instance, playing a lot of games like this, and it'd be really, really tough. It's just Haaland just pops up with a, it's getting a player like that that can, because you'll get these games where strikers have got scraps to feed on, but when a scrap comes along, you got to feed on it. You know what I mean? But today we didn't, and where we normally compensate for that is, as I said, on the flanks. And the flanks, whether you got to put some of that down to good defending by them today, and also, but I did feel that our wide players were a bit poor today. They weren't brave enough. They took the easy options too many times for me. And listen, we just got to hold it. I think we just got to hold this. It's a tough place to come to. It's our first defeat of the season. It's all about bouncing back now. We got to, as I said, a couple of. Well, Sevilla's not a favourable game. I think go and beat Sevilla.
They have to. I think they have to.
If we go and beat Sevilla, we've got almost like 1 foot in the next stage of the Champions League, which would be fantastic. And then Burnley at home, get 3 points in that and get back on track before the international break. But very, very disappointing today. And as I said, 3 lives. 3 lives for Newcastle today, man. They got all, They got like a cat. They're like a cat. They're not a magpie. They're like cats today, right? The amount of lives they had. You know what I mean?